Hello there. How's your fine day going? My day was fine until I decided that I should do this podcast. I'm just kidding. I love doing this podcast for you people. All two of you. I don't know. That's what the stats tell me, is that I'm down to like 2 listeners. At least on like Spotify. The YouTube version, it varies. It can vary from like 2 people to 1,000. Okay, I've only got like 4 episodes of the podcast that hit 1,000, including Baby's Day Out, which is like over 20,000. Because I don't know, a lot of people want to know what happens in Baby's Day Out, but don't want to watch it. And as I think about it, it's kind of weird that anyone would listen to this podcast to avoid knowing what having to watch a film when you could just go to the Wikipedia page and look it up yourself. But no, don't do that. Keep listening to this podcast, all 2 of you. So this week, I am doing Carlito's Angels, which I think literally is just going to be a Spanish version of Charlie's Angels. From the description, that's what it seems like. It's a trio of sexy, no-nonsense Latinas jump into action fighting crime in the hood whenever they get the word from their mysterious boss, Carlito. And, it's been a long time since I've seen, like, any sort of Charlie's Angels. Come to think of it, I think I only saw the first Cameron Diaz Charlie's Angels movie, which was, like, fun. I will admit it was kind of a fun film. I don't think I ever watched the original show. I didn't watch the remake show. I didn't watch, like, the remake movie. I didn't even watch the sequel of the first Cameron Diaz movie. But the first Cameron Diaz movie was fun. And I'm going to ruin all that I hold sacred of this one iteration of Charlie's Angels with Carlito's Angels. How awesome would it be if the Carlito and Carlito's Angel is professional wrestler Carlito, aka Carlito Caribbean Cool? Yeah, I remember back when he was CCC. They dropped that and just made him Carlito because WWE has this thing that you can only have one name. Even though Carlito Caribbean Cool was awesome. Except, unless you're Seth Rollins, which then they add freaking to your name. Seth freaking Rollins. Of all the people who are going to get 3 names, that's the one you go for. But Carlito, he would spit in the face of people who are not cool, or who don't want to be cool, or something. Just uncool people. So I think it would be awesome if he turned out to be Carlito. I don't know if in the movies or the show we ever found out who Charlie is. But yeah, the movies and the show were basically an excuse for jigglevision. And I'm guessing this version is the same, except they're all gonna be Latinas. Do I say Latinas or Latina women? So hard to know language. Okay, enough rambling. The girls in the picture, they're okay looking. I know, it's so, like, shallow of me to kind of judge them already, like, on the look, like, oh, they're not super hot, and it's like, you gotta keep in mind, in my mind, they're gonna be competing against Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu, who are just, like, uber hot. And for some people, they'll be competing with, like, Farrah Fawcett and the other 2. Or they'll be competing, I don't know who starred in any of the other ones. But, okay, enough of this rambling. I'm going to start watching this movie, unfortunately. So we start off with a stereotypical Latino woman coming in. She's coming home, and then she finds that her boyfriend or husband or whoever is fucking some other girl. And she's mad because she pays the bills. So she grabs a frying pan and chases the woman off. And I think the woman is one of the Carlito's Angels. And the boyfriend, he's like strapped up to the bed. Because maybe that's the thing. She just wasn't kinky enough for him. And, Carlito's Angels, they're willing to get kinky. And so now we get the intro, which is like a shot of like a bunch of like comic book pictures that I think is telling us the origin story of Carlito's Angels, while a rap song tells us what Carlito's Angels is all about. And basically, if you don't know the Charlie's Angel thing, it's like the mysterious guy like calls his women and gives them the job they're supposed to do. And as far as I can tell from this comic book intro, the job is to smoke a lot of pot and drink a lot and fuck guys, while the women in the ghetto are very mad that the Carlito's Angels are fucking their men. So now that you're up to speed, let's find out what the first mission is, right? So we get the introduction to Carlito's Angels. First, we see them having fun by all three of them riding a bike. Not like a tandem bike or anything. The one is pedaling, the one is riding the handlebars, like, good old-fashioned ghetto kids. I think also kids outside of the ghetto do that. And then one of them is on the back wheel standing, which I don't think I've ever seen. I don't think I've seen that done. I've seen the handlebars. I could ride my bike with no handlebars. No handlebars. I said handlebars in that song. Just popped into my head and it's stuck in my head. And I can't think of what happens in this film because I am stuck with all that. So we've got the narration from Carlito, who's introducing us to the angels that he saved from their awful, awful lives. And I got the names for the introduction, and I will probably forget them throughout the film, so bear with me. But we've got Tina, who's got the attitude problem and keeps getting fired from jobs because she's got the attitude problem. There's Marisol, who just loves the reefer, smoking pot all the time. And Carlito, he's like, yeah, it's okay once in a while, but you gotta get down with this, cut down the addiction. No one gets addicted to marijuana. What are you talking about, Carlito? But yeah, Marisol loves the reefer. And then there's Roxy, who, according to Carlito, can't keep her legs closed because she has lots of children. She has 3 children. 1, 2, 3. Maybe there's more at home because she's at like the unemployment office. And okay, maybe if you're unemployed, 3 children does seem like a lot, but it's not really that many. Not to the point of that you start slut-shaming someone. And, maybe she's Catholic. Fucking Catholics love to have, 15 children. But she only has 3. 3, I mean, yeah, if you don't have a job, it is a struggle, but it's not ridiculous. Stop slut-shaming fucking Carlito. But Carlito is getting them away from their lives to be his agents of something. So if he's taking them away from that life, does that mean he's taking Roxy away from her children? That's kind of fucked up, Carlito. Kids need their mom, and you're just sending her off on dangerous missions. But anyways, Carlito doesn't have much of an accent until he gets to his catchphrase of, I'm Carlito, and these are my angels. For some reason, he just ramps up his accent at that point. I guess you just gotta put the emphasis. Now, this lady, I don't know her name. Maybe we'll learn her name later. She's going into her apartment, and she opens the door, and she sees something that scares her. She screams, and she drops her groceries. What could she have seen? I'm guessing dead body. Dead body! Dead body! So, but we don't know yet, because they cut to Carlito's Angels hanging out in, apparently, Roxy's room, because we learn it's Roxy's apartment, because well, anyways, I'll get to that. But if it's her apartment, where are her kids? So Carlito took her away from her kids! Or maybe Child Protective Services took her kids away from her. I'm not gonna go either way. I don't know. But they're hanging out, just listening to loud music and smoking pot, because that's what Carlito's Angels do. when they're in their downtime. And the neighbors, they're all, turn down that racket. And underneath, there's a guy who I think only has one arm. They don't show him very quick. They show him very quick. And he's got his broom that he starts knocking on the bottom of the wall. Oh, man, I'm like 0 for 0 here, aren't I? He's knocking on the ceiling with his broom because the music's too loud, and some old lady is knocking on the door because the music's too loud. And they can't hear that. If you don't know about Charlie's Angels, there's like an intermediary guy, Bosley. I think his name is Bosley. Tom Bosley. He was played by Bill Murray in the first movie, and Bernie Mac in the second movie, and I don't know who in any of the other adaptations, but he pretty much has to get the message from Carlito to the Angels, and so he's saying like, hey, hurry up, we got a message from Carlito. But the girls are like, well, we can't go out looking like this, because we look like sluts. Oh, that is so wrong of me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say they look like sluts. They look like sluts. They just look very slutty. No, again, I apologize. They just have very, short clothes that are very, very... No, I'm not going to say it. But so they change using, the fast-paced, like Clockwork Orange when Roddy McDowell is fucking... Was it... No, it was Malcolm McDowell. Malcolm McDowell is fucking the girls, and it's, super speed. That's what we get for them changing into their clothes. So if it's going in super speed, we're going to assume that it's taking them a long time to get dressed, which Carlito has a message for you. Stop dilly-dallying and get down there. But as they're leaving the apartment, out jumps the fat landlord. And he's complaining because they haven't made rent yet. And this is where Roxy says, I'll pay you the rent when I get a job. So if she's paying the rent, that's why I'm assuming this is Roxy's apartment. And if it's Roxy's apartment, where are the kids? Where are the kids? But fat landlord's upset because, he thinks Roxy's never going to get a job. Roxy, can you ask Carlito for a loan to, help pay the rent? But the fat landlord says, if they don't pay the rent, he's going to fuck them. Which is an offer. I wouldn't say is the best offer and might slightly be illegal. But the offer's on the table, Roxy. If you're not going to pay him, I don't know, maybe you can get away with giving him a handy. So, none of the Angels wear bras, which I am thankful for, because we keep the jigglevision going. Oh, yeah. I think that might have been one of my weirdest oh yeahs so far. So they go to the bodega, because Carlito, he calls Collect there to talk to the Angels. So how long has he been, on hold, just racking up the minutes? The bodega owner, not Benson. Wait, did I say Benson? Bosley. I don't even know if Bosley was the Charlie's Angels guy. But anyways, he's not the intermediary, I guess. He's just the guy who owns the bodega and has to deal with Carlito calling Collect to their phone. And I'm guessing Carlito's in prison because he later mentioned something about can the girls put some money in his commissary, which, come on, girls aren't even being able to pay rent. They're not going to be able to pay you, but he's got a job for them. But before the job, he does some small talk and finds out how they're doing and how their lives are going. So he's got that at least. Fucking Charlie, he doesn't find out how the Angels are doing. He's just quick and straight to the mission. But Carlito cares. But the mission is this. This lady found her husband cheating on her, which I'm guessing is probably the lady who screamed and dropped the eggs. But it isn't just that he's cheating on her. He's cheating on her with a white woman. Oh no! So Carlito's Angels have to go and, I guess, stop the white woman. Because, we can deal with the men in the hood cheating if it's with other, like, Latinas, and maybe some Latinos, and some Latinx. How do you pronounce that? Do you pronounce it Latinx? And isn't everyone in the Latino community, like, pretty much says, fuck you, we hate that term. But seriously, no one asked for it, and yet here it is. But anyways, how dare a white woman going around sleeping with the Latino men of this neighborhood? So they got to track her down. I guess, like, the mission's a little fuzzy, at least on my end. They track her down and, I don't know, kick her ass, I guess, to be like, hey, stop sleeping with the Latino men around here. But it's going to be a dangerous mission because she works at a strip club that's owned by the mob. The Italian mob. Because he throws out some, like, Italian slurs that I'm not going to repeat because I can't remember them right now. But, yes, it's an Italian mob-owned strip club where white women, and, if she's sleeping with this one guy, she might be sleeping with a lot of women's boyfriends. And we can't have that. So now there's the question of how are they gonna get to the strip club? Because they stand outside and they all take, like, the Charlie's Angel pose. And this car comes by and these guys are, asking if they want to ride. And they're like, no, we don't want no ride from no scrub. Because a scrub is a guy hanging out on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, hollering at me. I think I got most of the lyrics right there. But, they don't want a ride from a scrub. But how are they going to get there? And in what is probably going to be the best gag of the film. And, I think this is genuinely a funny gag and not just, like, funny in comparison to the rest of the film. So, one lady pulls out this huge nail file. And she's like, well, let's just steal a car. And which I think Tina did that, and Marisol is like, no, we can't do that. So she takes the nail file and just throws it behind her, and this guy just goes and very sneakily takes the nail file and shoves it down his shirt. I like that. That is like I won't say quality, but it's kind of one of the C-level gags of a Abraham Zucker film. So I'll give them thumbs up on that one. But they decided, well, we're not going to get a ride from Scrub, and we're not going to steal a car. Let's just catch a cab. But unfortunately, Roxy's man comes by, and there's like 10 children. So, okay, yeah, she has a lot of children. And one of them is like a white midget. He's not a kid. He's a, well, I want to say grown-ass adult, but he's not full. No way that I go this without just being, like, really offensive at this point. So, since I'm already going to be offensive, go for the gold, I say. So, he's not a grown-ass man. He's not fully grown. You know what? I'm offensive without being funny. If I at least landed that joke, it would have been okay. But Roxy convinces him, like, her man, like, oh, just keep watching the children, and then tonight when I get home, I'm going to do that thing with the tongue. And I don't know what the thing with the tongue is. I'm going to assume, she's going to go down on him. I'm just going to pretend, the tongue's going inside the asshole. That's where I'm going. That's where I picture it. My headcanon is she's got a great asshole tongue action skill. Man, this is just shaping up to be like the worst episode of my podcast ever. I blame the movie. The movie's making me dumber. Now, the Angels don't have the money to pay for the cab fare. So the cabbie, he's like chasing after them because they jump out and they run. And, oh, jigglevision. And he's yelling at them. And while he's chasing after them, some thugs just come and steal his cab. Oh, man, just shitty day for him. He doesn't get the cab fare, and his cab gets stolen. So they reach the Angels, they reach the club, but they're like, how are we going to get in? Because it's $20 to get in. But luckily, one of the stripper girls is out in the parking lot because she just arrived there. And they don't even bother to find out if this is the stripper that's been sleeping with all the Latino men, to the chagrin of the Latino women. No, they just beat her up and take her clothes, and they're going in disguise, and that's how they're going to get into the club. Disguised as strippers. Which, you should have at least found out, like, hey, are you fucking these guys? You couldn't see me shrug. So, I should start, should I do a video version of my podcast? No, I should not. So the Angels are sneaking around, and they find, not a clue, but makeup! The good, expensive kind of makeup. Oh boy, this case is really paying off because they're gonna steal this makeup. But then the real strippers come, and they're like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing? And why are you stealing our makeup? And they're topless. So we've got titties! At 19 minutes. Oh, so close to passing the Velvet Owl test. And, if this is your first time listening, the Velvet Owl test is that films should have gratuitous nudity within the first 15 minutes. So you're a little late, Carlito's Angels. 4 minutes late, but I can't let you slide. Because if I make an exception for you, I have to make an exception for everyone, and then suddenly films are sneaking in gratuitous nudity with like 1 minute left and thinking, oh, we passed the Velvet Owl test. No. Velvet Owl test has strict rules. Gratuitous nudity within the first 15 minutes. It's not that hard, people. But then the owner of the club comes in and he's like, hey, stop fighting, you strippers. And he sees the Angels, and they're like, I don't know you. I never hired you. And they're like, oh, that other stripper, the one that we beat up. But you don't know that we beat her up. She can't make it. So the agency was like, we'll send you 3 girls for the price of 1. And the owner's like, can't beat that deal. And truly you can't. I mean, I guess if you're going for quantity over quality, then yeah, you're getting 3 strippers for the price of 1 stripper. But you don't know how well these strippers dance. The 3 strippers might suck compared to the 1 stripper. But does it really matter to the owner of the club? Because he's making his money still anyhow, right? I don't know. I don't know how the financial workings of a strip club is. I know strippers get tips. But do the tips then get split up with the owner? Does he take like a commissary? Is that the right word? Does he take like a commission? Like he gets a certain percentage of the tips? In that case, then yeah, 3 strippers for the price of 1. Well, I guess, then you don't have to overwork your strippers if you've got more strippers. I don't know. I don't know if 3 strippers for the price of 1 is a good deal. Does it work out to be a good deal for the strip club owner? It sounds like a good deal. And the strip club owner, he's like, I'm all for it. So get on the stage and shake your moneymakers. So Roxy and Tina are sent to the stage because they gotta dance. But, they're very awkward and not really dancing. So everyone in the crowd, which is like the lunchtime crowd, worst crowd to perform in front of, I think. I don't know. I'm really not like that familiar with strip club etiquette and the whole strip club culture. I would like to be, but I don't go to strip clubs. I should start going to strip clubs and learning how these things work. And is the lunchtime crowd worse than the nighttime crowd? I don't know. These are the important questions. Anyhow, everyone's booing them because, like, you're horrible strippers. Which, goes back to my point of, is 3 for 1 really worth it if they're awful dancers? But turns out it's not because they don't know how to dance. It's because the DJ is playing crappy music. And once the DJ plays the song they like, they start doing some bumping and grinding and dancing against each other, and it's bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is awful. It's shitty. It makes Elizabeth Berkley's Dancing in Showgirls look hot and sexy. But the crowd is eating it up and loves it, and they're throwing money at them, even though they don't even show their boobs. Which I don't know how, recently I've seen a bunch of films that have a scene in strip clubs where a stripper dances badly and doesn't take off her clothes, and the audience loves it. I want some realism. If she's not going to take off her clothes, I at least want some dancing. Some good dancing. Some flash dance dancing. And, Jennifer Beals had a dance double. So, get one of those. Find someone who can actually dance. And just show the dancing, in the shadows or, from the neck down. It's possible. If she's not going to show her boobs, and you're not going to get a body double, at least get a dance double so I can believe that, yes, people love the dance and are going to throw money. So the Angels change back into their civilian clothes so that they can do further recon work. And, oh no! Fat landlord's there with some big criminal thug. Some shit's going down, so the Angels quietly, stealthily follow them. And Thug and Fat Landlord meet with the owner of the strip club because they want a loan. They need to borrow some money because they've got some scheme where they rigged some numbers. I don't know, the lottery numbers, maybe. I don't know. They got some plan to fleece people out of a lot of money. And the strip club owner's like, you know what? I don't care what your plan is. Here's the money. You pay me back in a week with 20% interest, or... He doesn't tell them what the or is, but it's bad. It's going to be very, very bad. But unfortunately, the Angels, Roxy forgot to turn off her beeper. Or not even didn't forget to turn it off. She made the conscious choice not to turn it off because she was waiting for a call. And I don't know when this film was made to have beepers. Do people still have beepers? Or pagers. We got cell phones that you can put on, vibrate, and you get your text or your call, and, you don't have to miss it out. You don't need the beeper to then, call back the number. So I don't know when this film was made. Is it still in the hood like that? They still use pagers and beepers? I don't want to say... that they do, because that would be kind of racist and classist of me. More classist than racist, because I'm just saying, poor people still use beepers. I don't know. But I also don't want to say, hey, it doesn't happen, because it could very well be. And maybe this film is an accurate description of life in the hood. I highly doubt it, but I'm leaving it open there, that it could possibly be that. So... Angels got to run before they're caught. Unfortunately, the Angels are recognized by the stripper that they mugged earlier. And so now between that and, criminal overlords who know they overheard the plan, everyone's just kind of running after them. And, jigglevision. 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 Comedy rule of three. Comedy rule of three. I just disproved it. Maybe, if it isn't funny the first time, it isn't funny the second or third time either. But, they run, and then everyone gets into a fight. The worst fight choreography I've seen since Sissy Boy Slap Fight. Or was it Sissy Boy Slap Party? Whatever. Sissy Boy Slaps. Featuring professional wrestler Kenny Omega. Do yourself a favor and not watch it. Seriously. But anyways, now we break the fourth wall and go all meta as one of the stunt doubles, who's a guy dressed as one of the Angels, and he's complaining because the gun that he's using is a lighter. It's not a real gun because... I don't know. I personally, as an actor or a stunt double, if I were working in film, I would prefer to use a lighter that looks like a gun than a real gun. I'm sure Alec Baldwin would too. Oh, yeah, I went there. Depending on when you listen to this, that joke might just fly over your head. In case you don't know, Alec Baldwin shot, I was going to say a guy, but it wasn't a guy, it was a girl. And I shouldn't make fun of it, because it actually is just sad and tragic. And it's not fully Alec Baldwin's fault either. Like, the people who fucking, like, are supposed to check that. So, they had a real bullet inside the gun, and he fired it, bang, killed the cinematographer, I believe it was. But, so like I said, I would prefer to have a lighter that looks like a gun. If Alec Baldwin had that, poor cinematographer would be alive. And I feel horrible because I can't think of her name right now. And I could look it up, but I'm not going to because really there's like 2 of you listening. And I doubt either one of you is Alec Baldwin or related to the cinematographer. You might be. You know what? I am going to start assuming Alec Baldwin is listening to my podcast. That will get me through. That will get me through these episodes. But where was I? Because now I'm just talking about Alec Baldwin, and I'm sure Alec Baldwin loves having this tragic story tied into Carlito's Angels. Just beautiful that I did that. So, but the stunt double, he's mad because he's worked on real films and all that. And what kind of bullshit is this? And then we start getting behind the scenes. The director's trying to calm everyone down. And, you know, they all know it's a crappy film. And making fun of your film being crappy does not excuse your film being crappy. Why don't people get that? You can make fun of a film being crappy if the film is crappy in a funny way. Like, it's intentionally well written so to set up the making fun of crappy films. But your film still has to be good and entertaining, which, Mr. Director of Carlito's Angels, you are failing at. But he manages to calm everyone down and end the fight scene with the angels coming out on top. Now it's nighttime and the angels are having a slumber party. Aw, yeah. Jigglevision slumber party. You know what? At this point in the film, I'm taking what I can get. And if that's jiggling in pajamas, I'm taking that. I am taking that. And they talk about stuff, which I don't know. I wasn't paying attention because Tina's lingerie pajamas and jiggling. She's the most jiggly of the angels, and coincidentally my favorite. You know, I don't know why the most jiggly one is my favorite. It just happened to work out that way. And Roxy's man is all upset because remember she was supposed to do the thing with the tongue in exchange for him watching the kids. But she's not giving him any tongue, and he's still stuck watching the kids. And the angels are, I don't know, planning a heist or something. You know, they don't want, like, their people to get ripped off in this numbers scheme, because the numbers is, like, the only hope that people in the ghetto have. No, that's what she said, not me. I don't know what the fuck the numbers thing is. I'm guessing it's like the lottery or something, but I don't know. Just not sponsored by the state. It's sponsored by this scummy little guy and the fat landlord. But the angels are gonna figure a way to get the money for themselves and go on a shopping spree. Best I can figure. I don't know. Just jiggly pajamas. And I would rewind to re-listen and figure out what the plan was. Who am I kidding? If I watch that scene again, I'm still just gonna focus on the jiggly parts. Which I think is like the aim of this film, is like they think like if they distract you enough with enough jiggling that you won't realize how crappy of a film this is. And sorry, you failed on that point. So either the film needs to be better or there needs to be more jiggling. Take your choice, but I am not falling for your tricks. Now, the angels sneak out of the apartment through the fire escape, because just in case the fat landlord sees them and recognizes that he saw them at the strip club, and puts 2 and 2 together and gets 22, and realizes that, he should kill them or something. But unfortunately, as much as they're sneaking out, they get confronted by some lady whose husband or boyfriend slept with Tina. So she wants to start some shit, and she brought her crew over from her neighborhood. But, Tina's like, yeah, you think you got your numbers game, but this is my hood. And she starts making like some bird calls or something, which causes all these people to come out of their apartments and be like, oh, shit's going down. We're going to throw down. As they do in the hood. But then luckily this guy who, I'm not really sure who he is, but apparently it is the true leader of this neighborhood. And I think like he sells drugs or something. So he can't have like too much heat going on because, he doesn't want the attention from the cops. Because they'll see, hey, isn't that the drug dealer? And arrest him or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of filling in like the backstory on my own at this point. But he calms everyone down and the fight doesn't happen. Boo-hoo. Now, the manager of the bodega wants to talk to the girls. And it looks like he's wearing a fake mustache. I can't quite tell. Like, why? Why? Like, did he play another role in this film and they just need to give him a fake mustache to differentiate him? I can't quite figure out. Or, like, the director really wanted the character to have a mustache and the guy just couldn't grow a mustache. Or maybe, like, it was like the reverse Henry Cavill situation and he just couldn't grow the mustache in time. I don't know. But, he's telling the girls, like, you gotta stop with this angels crap and running around and all this silliness. But they tell him, like, oh no, we've discovered some shit's going down. They're gonna rig the numbers. And he's like, oh, whoa. We can't have the numbers being rigged. We gotta get down to the bottom of this. And the angels are like, well, we know that fat landlord's involved. And so Paco tells them, like, let's go after fat landlord. That's your in. You're gonna find out shit and stuff. I don't know. It's gonna be your in to figure out the crimes. I'm just rambling at this point, because more jiggle. Again, like I'm telling you, the director of the film is trying to throw me off guard here, and throwing lots of jiggling at me, so that I'll be kinder to his film. Well, fuck you, it's not gonna work. I'm on to your schemes. But so they find the fat landlord and they tell him like, oh, we know what you did. And he's like, uh-oh. Well, I'm gonna run. And fat boy runs. And he runs quite fast for a fat boy. But then suddenly this guy who's dressed like Robin, old school Robin, like the Burt Ward from the 60s TV show Robin, he's like, I'll get after him. And we get a whimsical chase with whimsical music. And Robin finally catches up to the fat landlord. But he's a scrawny little thing, so fat landlord just beats the shit out of him. But it provided the distraction. And the angels come up behind him and knock him out with a shoe. With a shoe. Watch out for the shoe. So the angels have the fat landlord tied up, and they want him to squeal like a pig because he's fat. No, they want him to reveal the whole plan, but he won't, even though they're torturing him over and over, and have the little like white midget who's one of Roxy's kids just punch him over and over. Personally, I think some more jiggly action would help get him to talk. That's how you could get me to talk. Like, the torture well, okay, the torture, I have very low pain threshold. So probably first punch, I'm spilling my guts. But some jiggly action, and I will spill my guts twice. But they found, the way to Fat Boy's heart is through his stomach. So they offer him some pizza if he'll give all the information, which he agrees to. And soda. He's got to be pizza and soda, to wash down the pizza. So he agrees, and he lays down the plan that the thug has. He explains how the whole numbers game works, which is so fucking complicated. Like Ocean's 11 levels of complications. I couldn't even begin to explain to you how this whole thing goes. I still don't even understand what it is. Like, I guess you guess on numbers and whoever gets the right numbers, but there's like this whole like system of, I don't know who chooses the numbers, but then it gets written down and is passed through like 50 people and all sorts of like, just, it's hurting my head to even contemplate what it is, but they know now how this thug guy is planning to rig the numbers game so he can make all the money. I don't know. I guess, well, if he made the bet and he gives the numbers, he'll win, right? How much money do you make from this numbers game thing, anyhow, that it's worth going through all this trouble of, like, fixing it and rigging it so that you have enough money to pay back a strip club owner? I don't know. It's rough. So now that the Angels know the plan, they can set their trap, and they catch the thug before he can steal the numbers. And they start a fight, and luckily Marisol has a gun and threatens to shoot the thug, who decides, yo, this just ain't worth it. I'm gone. I don't want to get shot. I hope he has a plan to deal with, like, the strip club owner who's gonna, like, kick his ass for not being able to pay back the money plus 20%. Which really, how much... I still want to know how much money there is for this numbers game. 'Cause it had to have been a lot to be worth going through all this trouble and risk getting your ass kicked by the strip club owner. So, but now that everything's fine, they're at this big block party, and everything's good. It's a happy ending, except, it's that woman that's mad at Tina for sleeping with her man, and she's got her crew, and they decide, oh shit, this shit's on, we're gonna fight. And they decide there's only one way that they can battle: mud wrestling. Which should be fucking fantastic. And somehow they managed to even fuck up the mud wrestling scene. And make it, like, not hot at all. And somehow lack of jiggling during the mud wrestling. It's mud wrestling. How do you screw up a mud wrestling scene? But they manage. And I think the Angels win. They don't really tell us who wins. But, I mean, in reality, when it comes to mud wrestling, we all win. And then we get like 10 minutes of outtakes, which usually outtakes are like, often not as funny as the stuff in the film. And this film was like painful to sit through to begin with. So these outtakes are just ugh. I don't know. This movie is like a hour and 10 minutes long. So the 10 minutes of outtakes, it's clearly just padding at this point. Like, we just have nothing. I wouldn't have complained if there was 10 minutes of just jiggling. If just 10 minutes of the Angels running, I would have been happy. I would have been like, okay, this movie sucked, but it was worth it for 10 minutes of jiggly. No, we get outtakes that no one would want. Oh, boy. So yeah, I hope the next movie I pick, just, I don't know, anything, any movie I pick has got to be better than this, right? Oh boy. So, if you are jiggly, or want to get jiggly with it, man, how did I go through this whole episode without making that joke? But yeah, velvetout@hotmail.com, or leave a comment in the comments thread if you're on YouTube, or, I don't know, knock on my door and say hi. All of these are acceptable ways of contacting me. Let me know what you think of the podcast. Is there a movie you want me to watch so you don't have to? Or if you just want to say hi. Yeah, I love you guys.